Hey, how you doing there, tech people? I'm your host, Sean Worker. Good to have you join us for another Adapters Tech Show. We've done a few of these now, where we really explore the current and near future business tech trends or fads, particularly in the service industry, across travel, retail, and hospitality. All of this powered by our friends at Hunter Gatherer. So I will tell you, it's a real pleasure to have Pete Gibson on the show today. And he's the founder of Datalytics. He's a transformational tech guy. He's the intervening CIO to save the day and helps improve businesses. And it's just great to have him here because he's just dug into so many businesses over many years and knows where all the skeletons are. So Pete, we've known each other many years, and you're always on trend. And so tell us, in this fourth age of change, where are you seeing trend, fad? What are you involved in?
This is an interesting time. And I think CIOs and CTOs are extremely important, but I think there are about four major areas, right? First one is labor. Labor is key. It used to be labor to offset minimum wage. Now it's just stable workforce. Second item is supply chain. It's just messed up. Now, supply chain in hotels is one thing, but in restaurants, man, you can't get bacon one day, the next day you can get bacon. And so the supply chain is huge for us. The third one is customer intimacy. Who is the customer and how can we get him better products in a quicker time frame? And then the final one, of course, is, well, I'll say final, I got actually two more. Customer safety and security. They want a good, safe environment, which is, i.e., from the pandemic, but also for their information is what they want. And then the final one that is always near and dear to everyone's heart is brand security, i.e., and it's just the typical tech security stuff, protecting your organization from ransomware, theft, things of that nature. And I think those are the hot areas right now for technology.
And when you look at these big areas that some you control, right? I think we all agree that the pandemic is still in control. I mean, that's steering the boat. You look at the supply chain. Well, you don't control all of that. You can mitigate some of it. Maybe you can find some alternative sources. But as of yesterday, it was 3 major ships sitting outside the LA port, and it hasn't shifted much. It's always between 90 and 103, and that's unheard of.
Right.
So when you think about what the service industry and travel, hospitality, retail can control, you bring up a big topic, which is labor. What are you seeing as some of the technologies that I'm hearing from investors and others that they're looking up to free capacity, so that and to put the workforce with a 25% decrease in available staff, they got to make the staff more productive. What are you seeing as tools that you're seeing bolting on, or can they do it? So what are you seeing?
They are, and there's a lot of kind of growth in this area. The first one is artificial intelligence, being able to automate those processes. So let's just say a contact center, order taking, things of that nature. The second one is process automation. Okay, it used to be called BPM. Now we changed the name and call it robotic RPA, robotic process automation. That's important. So I think that's key for us on the labor front, and that is automating your business processes. The other thing that I think is key, and we often forget about, is workforce enablement. The workers that we have here, what are we doing for them? The ones that have stayed with us and are working with us on a daily basis. So are we doing things like allowing them to do shift changes through applications for the associates to where they can improve? Also learning and development applications, while they're kind of old school type stuff, are more important for organizations now. And then also I will say connectivity. I'm seeing, everyone did Zoom and teleconferencing, and that's all commodity type stuff. But now it's important for the corporate office to be able to go out to their field folks and be able to, have a streaming session on some type of streaming service. I think to see the CEO talk to them about performance and how they're important and so forth, besides the on-location general manager.
And so, it's interesting you brought up the CTO and CIO. So in this fourth age of change, we're seeing such dramatic changes in the marketplace.
Yeah.
What are the attributes that, yesterday's CIO depended on, but what are the attributes of a tomorrow, like literally tomorrow, CTO, CIO? What are the attributes they need now versus yesterday?
It used to be in the early 2000s and the late 90s, you always would hear the term CIO that could deliver technology, but could also do the technology speak for the business. And that's kind of so old school and antiquated. Now, I think the key elements are, can your CIO or CTO generate revenue? Can they do significant cost savings? Are they a business leader in the business? So I place a lot more emphasis on leadership than the technology. And everyone says, well, you got to know this tech or that tech and this tech. Yeah, you do, but you get up to a certain level, you really rely on your staff. And technology is everywhere. It's pretty pervasive, so you can't know it all. So it really comes down to leadership in there. And this is what makes tech so fun is, and I shouldn't say there's nothing new really coming out of HR that's going to innovate an organization. The accounting guys, they're pretty good, but there's gap accounting and so forth. There's nothing new there. Operations, they're still trying to do the operations things. If you want to improve a business right now, I will probably tell you there's a technology component to it.
So, products like WorldPay, with payment, Workday from an HR perspective with an ERP bolt-in, is that something that you're seeing people embracing, companies embracing?
But it's bigger than that. And so you're right, you see those components, but where I see a lot of organizations make mistakes is they will buy an applicant tracking system over here, and then they will buy a HRIS over here, and then they'll buy a payday or your payment guys over here for your HR and so forth. Really, this day and age, the CIO and the organizations really want to start having one throat to choke because you don't have all the labor you need in technology. So you really want to start looking at package procurement on all this stuff, so you get one solution for everybody for one thing, and you're not having to go do the integration. So I just was working with a restaurant brand here recently, and what happens is that through regulations, and the restaurant industry is pretty highly impacted by laws, break laws, tipping laws, things of that nature. And so when all of a sudden the state makes a change, you've got to apply that in the point of sale system, you got to apply that in HRIS and so forth. And if they are not one integrated package, it's the organization having to go to this one provider and say, you got to change for us over here. We got to change our output spreadsheet, put it in over here. Mr. Provider, you got to change over there. So that means I'm running it at 4 to 5 months at risk of not being in compliance with the laws just due to system integration type issues.
And so when you look at where you'd ask the travel, tourism, retail world to look over the fence, as we spend a lot of time in our book, The Adapters, speaking about looking over the fence. What do you think today, and it's a broad sweep, let's say hotel companies, restaurant companies, what industry should they look at and be inspired by to solve some of their problems with labor and the other problems you noted at top of the show? And you've got about 30 seconds, Pete. So don't feel any pressure.
I think there's a priority. The guys that really started the automation are furthest ahead, of course, of the airlines. 2, one of the extremely complicated business is car rental. 3 is hotels. So hotels ought to be looking at car rental and be looking at automating all the way through. They do a lot as far as warranty risk and things of that nature. And kind of trailing behind the restaurants, the event, the ferry services, and those guys on that also.
All right. Well, listen, this has been a punchy few minutes together. And so I want to, we've had about 10 minutes together, and we've heard a lot about labor. We've heard a lot about looking over the fence, and that's what we do here. So check out the Adapters at adapters.net for more content. Buy our book and check out our partner podcast at No Vacancy with an amazing Glenn Hausman. So thanks to the team there and also our friends at Hunter Gatherer.